Now, my final guest tonight is a footballer who 10 years ago was bought for £1 million, which in those days bought you more than just a 20th of Tottenham Hotspur's overdraft. Since then, he's been surrounded by controversy more often than he's been surrounded by defenders. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Justin Fashanu. You've had a rather exciting career, and not always a happy one, but most recently, as far as I'm concerned, you've been in the papers. You spoke to The Sun and revealed your homosexuality. Why was it you went to the Sun to do that? They're not known for famous for the house journal of the gay liberation movement, is it?
No, but in my career over the 10 years or more, whenever anything's happened, I've always done it in The Sun. When I became a £1 million player, that was in The Sun. When I became a born-again Christian, that was in The Sun. So I kind of thought to myself that if I was going to do it properly and be honest, then use the same medium that I'd used all the time before.
Yeah. But why did you decide to go public in that way?
Because I'd had a knee injury 4 years ago, and I'd spent a lot of time, a lot of money and effort trying to get back into soccer because I felt that the injury was curable. I came back a couple of times too early, and probably the reason I didn't make it was because there's been so many innuendos and rumours and this, that and the other going on about my sexuality and about me over the years, that I thought that the situation was, let's be honest, there's so much hypocrisy, there's so many people who are not what they say they are. It's not a big deal in as much as people are either employing me for what I can do on the soccer field or not. You know, there's a lot of people that get up to lots of things, and I don't think that it should affect whether you can play or not. And I just felt that I wanted to get all the past out. I wanted to be honest and truthful, not only to myself, but to other people as well.
Do they pay a lot of money for those sort of revelations about your private life?
Not really, not enough. If I'd have named names and if I'd have gone into the whole 9 yards of it, as you know, in the newspapers, they made a big deal out of it and put things in which weren't agreed on necessarily. So,
well, that's why I asked you why you went to The Sun, because being a tabloid newspaper, naturally they want to pull out the things, you know, I went around with an MP, but you don't name him and stuff like that.
That's right, but I think the situation is that...
well, they're going for the story, aren't they?
They are, yeah. But again, you think that you've got them sussed and you have lawyers there and you have all these people who are going to safeguard you, but they never do.
Yeah, but did the basic story come out accurately as far as you're concerned in the papers?
Well, I'm not sure. I wasn't in the country when it came out. I
mean, you haven't seen it?
I did the dirty deed and ran. No, from all
I think we've got them here. I mean, well, I know we've got them here. What am I saying?
No, a lot of it was blown out of proportion, and a lot of things weren't correctly put down. But the bottom line is, it's now, it's done, it's in the past. I have to deal with it. What I'm more concerned about now is what happens now. I'm fit and strong, Clive, and I want to get back into playing soccer. And it's not happening at the moment.
Well, I'm not fit and I'm not strong, and I've never been in soccer. But do you think it's damaged your chances? Because football supporters, apart from anything else, seize on anything to have a go at
That's
people.
not a problem. The ridicule and all that type of thing, I don't have a problem with. What I'm having a problem with at the moment is the soccer authorities saying, well, hold on a minute, we called up a couple of clubs and they're saying, well, a fit Justin Fashanu we'd definitely like to have, but he's too hot to handle at the moment. And I'm just I'm in a situation now where I'm saying I've spent a long time, 4 years getting fit, mentally as well as physically. I'm in a situation where I'm being honest. It's not something which you want to say. It's not something that you want to be. It's a fact that's a fact, and you have to deal with it. I should be judged on my footballing ability and anything else, because you know, if you're heterosexual, doesn't mean to say that you're going to jump on every woman you see. So, you know, I think that all I'm asking is, as before, the newspapers have said he's asking for $250,000 and $500,000 and this type of thing, or pounds, I'm in England now. It's a situation where all I'm looking for is to have an opportunity to get onto a field anywhere and show that I can play soccer.
Well, let's just do a quick resume of what's happened in your football career, because you were transferred to Nottingham Forest for £1 million, as I mentioned in a little introduction to you there. You didn't get on terribly well at Nottingham Forest. Was that a problem with Brian Clough?
Well, I was 20 years old. It was 10 years ago. I was a boy. Suddenly had a lot of money. You talk about me being controversial. Brian Clough is controversial and successful, which I think covers over a multitude of sins. But the situation is, that's 10 years ago. It was a long time.
Well, what were you spending your money on? You were highly paid, weren't you, at the time? What were you spending it?
I can't remember. I know I was spending it. Well, I can't remember what I was spending it on.
Well, the buzz I've got is you had like religious advisors and you had housekeepers and things like that, and that Brian Clough maybe didn't like that sort of
No, I don't
flash
think
image.
so. No, if you look, it's a situation where in life, if you're successful, then everything is kind of okay. If you're not successful, then you start being put under the microscope. I'd scored 4 goals in about 30-odd games, which is not acceptable, especially after Nottingham Forest had come off a European Cup success and things. So, no, I don't think that was a major issue. If you talk to him now, I don't think that you can, because of my housekeeper or because of a spiritual advisor, you can lose £800,000. I don't think that's a legitimate excuse. I think I wasn't producing.
And you were sort of described as a born-again Christian. How did that come about?
Well, I felt again that I'd got success.
Was there like a conversion or occasion or anything like that?
It was a conversion, yeah. I was in a situation where I'd met somebody who was a born-again Christian, and he enlightened me, if you want to use those terms, and I realised that there was something missing from my life, and that I'd only had a knowledge of Christ in a very kind of peripheral kind of way, and he said that I could have a meaningful relationship and an intimate relationship, and I did, and I still have that relationship.
Where did that first come about? Where did you get this conversion?
In a car garage.
Yeah. So you went there to get your car fixed?
Yeah, and I came out with me being fixed.
Yeah. Was the car repaired as well there?
Yes. Yes.
Small stuff, obviously. But your problems with Mr. Clough even extended to you being arrested or taken out of the ground. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, it was. But Clive, that was. Can I touch your hair?
But on this program, it was almost compulsory to hands, knees, everything. Yeah.
It was 10 years ago. You know, a lot of things happened 10 years ago. I don't think you're the same now as you were 10 years ago. You had more hair 10 years ago.
Wait a minute. I lost it in a car garage. I went in. I was converted to baldism.
What I'm trying to say is that was 10 years ago.
If that mechanic hadn't looked like Yul Brynner, I'd have as much hair as you do.
That's done. Now, Clive, I want to talk about now. I want to talk about what's happening now.
Well, let's just go a little bit in the past. You've been in Los Angeles.
Yes.
You're coaching a team over there.
I started off going over there to rehab my knee because the doctor said here I'd never play again, and so I felt that going over to LA would be helpful. I went there, I rehabbed for 2 years.
You had an awful injury.
It wasn't an awful injury. It was a quirky injury because I had an infection in the knee from Marcel Osman's boot, and it blew up, and I had atrophy of the muscle, which means wastage of the knee, and it was a silly, vicious circle thing, and it needed time and a lot of care and love to build it up, and in soccer I just didn't have that time. So I went there. It took me 8 months just building the knee up so that I could do anything with it, then bending it and those type of things. Did all that. Part of the rehab was to play soccer and coach, which I did, and then I was reasonably successful. Their team that was not doing very well, we got into the finals. Then I went to Canada. I was asked to coach there, another team that weren't doing very well, and we managed to turn them around, and it finished up with me being in a team where I got most valuable player and all those type of things, but it doesn't really mean much.
No, but now you're back over here. How do you find football over here? English football.
I find football here a major challenge. I find it here. It doesn't matter wherever you are in the world. Here is where you need to break it. I've been all over the world. I've played all over the world. I've lived in LA and Hollywood and done all that type of thing. And I want to play soccer. I spent 4 years working out. I came to Manchester City. Mel Machin was superb. Gave me an opportunity. He sat me down. He said, "Justin, you're not quick enough, you need to do a bit of work." I shook his hand and said, "Mel, I'll be back."
This was last year?
This was last year. And then I spent 3 months with a solid training 3 times a day with my coach, Mick Burns, who's a physical trainer with the Army and those things. And I'm fit and strong. Yeah. And at the moment, what's happening is that the doors are not being opened because of the sexuality, and I just don't think that's right.
And your brother plays for Wimbledon, John Fashanu. Do you have a good relationship with him, or is he discouraging you, or what?
Is he discouraging me? He's his man, and I'm my man. He kind of does his life, and I do what I have to do. I love him to bits. He's my brother. He's not happy with the situation that's happened, but it's like everything. It's a situation where years ago people didn't want to talk about alcoholism, or they didn't want to talk about drugs. It was something where we don't tell the neighbours because of all this business. It's something that needs to be spoken about. I'm honest. If people don't like it, then that's fine, but it's a fact. We have to deal with it.
And I think you're looking for an acting career as well after you.
Well, yeah, I've been offered a couple of movies in the summer. I've got a new agent in LA, and his name is Oscar Peters, and he's
All right, well, I think we've tried to build up your football career and possibly acting career, but unfortunately your career on Wogan has to go now because we've run out of time. But thank you very much for joining us. Justin Fashanu.
Thank you, Clive.